Hello, writers. Have you ever bought a writing craft book someone says you just have to read?
Is it still sitting on your shelf? Have you even cracked the spine?
That's totally me.
Don't ask Renee how many craft books she owns.
Why do we keep buying these books we never read?
We all want to improve as writers, but that's hard to do alone.
That's why we started the Words to Write By podcast, to tackle these books together, chapter by chapter, and learn from their advice.
Or not. Sometimes they're wrong.
Hi, I'm Renee Nelson, former college writing instructor turned full-time writer and podcaster. After many years, I finally have a complete draft of my memoir.
And I'm Kim Smigado, author of the humorous fantasy novel Our Comeback Tour is Slaying Monsters, which is the first book in the Boy Bands and Dragons series, released by Riverfolk Publishing.
And now, on with the podcast.
Hello and welcome to Words to Write By.
Hey,
So we're still not starting the artist way yet, but we are. Well, we are starting the artist way, but we haven't officially started the weekly practices.
Yes, so if you haven't tuned in to the last episode, you should, because it introduces this idea that this is a, what is it, a workshop? It's
a self-help for creativity.
Yes, but it's like a course in book form where you do things every week.
Mm-hmm. We originally thought we'd get all the intro chapters out and just start on the weeks, but actually we talked so much last week, 2 weeks ago, that we decided to cut it there, and now we are going to hit the basic tools chapter.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on, way more than we anticipated, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, so let's get to the basic tools, and I think we just focus on the two ideas, and we'll probably elaborate as we're doing them through the book. Because the idea is that while there are lessons for each week, there are two things that we have to consistently do every week. One's a daily task and one's a weekly task. And the first one is the morning pages.
Dun dun!
This is a concept that's so simple. Up until this point, I'd heard people talking about it. It's like, well, I can just do that on my own if it works that well. What are the morning pages?
Okay. So first, you can find out what they are by typing in morning pages, Julia Cameron PDF, and this chapter will pop up for free. So you can just find it. Essentially, all the morning pages is the very first thing you do in the morning is you sit down. I mean, I'm like talking like the first thing. You sit down and you write, 3 pages?
3 pages.
3 pages of just free write.
Yep. So these are not, part of your regular journal. Like, you either get yourself a throwaway journal or just a notebook or something, and you write 3 pages, stream of consciousness.
Yeah. And you can throw them away or you can keep them.
She recommends that for the first 2 weeks to 8 weeks, you're not supposed to read them. You're just supposed to write them, put them away, and not worry about them. You put the pen to the paper and you just keep writing. And if you're writing, I have no ideas, you just keep writing, I have no ideas, until something pops in your mind. So I've started doing this just kind of to get a warm up before we hit the full book experience. I could see this be really hard for somebody that isn't actively used to writing, because their mind would just kind of go blank. And as someone that's been writing a lot, I don't have that much of a problem basically having a dialogue running in my head and just writing it out on paper. So,
I think this is a helpful thing because we're used to sitting around and writing, like you said, but some people, they think it has to be perfect before they start.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just stare at the page.
There's actually a mechanical thing that's going on. When I'm writing the pages, I'm coming up with the sentences or the phrases that I want to say. Actually, typing is faster than writing. You can't write an entire sentence as it comes into your head. So you almost have to know what the sentence is and then hold the various words in your head as you go along. I've been consciously noticing that I'm writing the word. That word comes to my head as I'm writing it physically down, but I'm holding the whole sentence in my head as well at the same time, while actively being aware of what I'm going to write next. So it's actually kind of a complicated process of what you're doing, matching the mechanics of writing words down while you're thinking them.
Really?
Well, you can see when you're doing it, but are you, as soon as you come up with the word and write it down, is it gone from your head and you're going to the next word? Mm-hmm. Or are you keeping the whole sentence in your head as you're writing the sentence down?
I'm just writing as I'm thinking. I guess I've just written so many words by hand that my hand will just come up with the words.
So you're not actively running a monologue in your head. It's just the words are just coming out on page as you're thinking them right at that moment.
I have an active monologue in my head and the words just appear on the page. My hand just moves for me.
But if I'm thinking these words, like take that sentence, I'm thinking these words, if I was writing that, I would only get to I'm thinking. Like I have to actually back up a little bit so I'm not thinking the next sentence. The speed at which I talk is a lot faster than what I write.
I don't know. I don't think I think about. So I was having a conversation with a friend, my other friend, Kim, the other day. Some people don't have an inner monologue, which is freaky. You know what else people don't have? And some people can't see images in their head.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, how in the hell do they do anything? Because mine is really vivid. Like I have a very vivid imagination, and there's like tons of images. Do you have that too?
Yeah, no, I definitely see a lot of images. I have like a little movie playing.
Yeah.
And then I also have dialogue that people say. And in a way, I think part of the reason why I have a hard time writing descriptions is that I just have a visual of what something looks like. And it's harder for me to break down. But dialogue is great because I actually have to work out the words that people say. So I'm constantly writing a dialogue. And those are specific words you can write down.
I have one more question, though. Do you have an inner monologue? Do you talk to yourself in your own voice in your head?
When I'm focusing on ideas, yes.
But not normally?
Honestly, when I'm going through the day, no.
See, I do. I have conversations in my head.
I mean, I do when I want to have conversations, but
It just doesn't happen to you?
they don't intrude when I don't want them to.
Oh, well, yeah, you're mindful, though. That's you're good at that kind of stuff. I'm not. So I'm not that mindful. But I think the flow of my thought to the page through the hand is pretty fast. And I've never really sat and thought about, I need to have a whole sentence in my head before I can write, because I can write a lot of bullshit without thinking very much.
It'll be interesting as you're doing the pages, because the thing is that she gives you 3 pages. I timed it. I take about a half an hour to finish 3 pages.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see how long you take. So when I'm writing, there's a certain amount of observation of what I'm doing as well. Like I'm not completely just writing the words out. Like I'm a little bit stepping back too and observing the words that I'm writing out. So it'll be interesting as we're doing the morning pages to see what particular mindset we have when we're doing the pages. Are we just completely involved with what we're writing, or is there more of a detachment?
Do you normally not free write before you sit down to write?
I used to free write a lot more, but even when I did not write more than a couple paragraphs.
Really? Oh, see, this is part of my process. I write a bunch of gobbledygook for pages and pages and pages until I hit something.
Okay.
Interesting. Also, if you're curious about this whole free writing business, look up Peter Elbow. He's kind of the one who made this famous, which was, I believe, in the 70s. Just look him up if you want to know more about where it came from. All right, so it says that you can't do them wrong. So that's good to know. Pages are meant to be simply the act of moving the hand across the page and writing down whatever comes to mind.
Your mood doesn't matter.
Your mood doesn't matter. Here's an example. She says that somebody may write this. September 30th, 1991. Over the weekend, for Dominica's biology project, she and I went bug hunting on the Rio Grande and Pot Creek. We collected water crawlies and butterflies. I made a crimson homemade butterfly net that was quite functional, although dragonflies eluded us to our dismay. We did not catch the tarantulas strolling down the dirt road near our house. We just enjoyed spotting it.
So that's kind of a journaling approach. Basically, let's take some memory from a day or something previous and let's just write it on out. The other option is much more of an in a moment. I'm up and I have a headache and I've taken aspirin and feel a little better, although still shaky. Let's go moment by moment of exactly how I am in my head right now. I've been doing a lot of that because it's very easy to fall back on, especially if you're doing this early in the morning, you're not quite awake yet.
Yeah. So it says you can't do it wrong. Do you think it would be safe if I responded to a poem? Like if I read a poem and then I started writing pages, that is breaking the contract.
You know, I think you should start off not doing that.
Okay.
She says it's supposed to be the first thing you do in the morning. At that point, you're kind of skewing what you're doing. And maybe you'll switch around to it. But I think that for the first week, let's not try any kind of prompts. I think we're supposed to wake up for the first week a half an hour early to do the writing.
I'm getting coffee first, though. Nobody can stop me. Nobody. And I'm petting my cats. But other than that, I will get started. You know, I will say, just like Anne Lamott, showing up every day, this is the way to show up every day.
Yes, it is.
It's not even just about what you're writing. It's just that you're showing up.
So many of these techniques are just kind of saying the same thing in slightly different ways. And that's kind of reinforcement that there is something to this. Anne Lamont's just show up every day, write 1 paragraph. Bradbury's write a story a week. This one, write for half an hour, just random in the morning. These are all kind of the same sort of thing, getting at the same kind of parts of the brain that you're helping to kick in. And I think that's a good point. She also talks about the sensor.
I really connected with this. I almost feel bad saying that because I crapped on her so much, but yeah. So she says, the morning pages are the primary tool of creative recovery. Again, I don't like the term, but whatever. As blocked artists, we tend to criticize ourselves mercilessly. Even if we look like functioning artists to the world, we feel we never do enough and what we do isn't right. That is textbook Renee in her monologue. That is me all the time. She continues, we are victims of our own internalized perfectionist, a nasty internal and eternal critic, the censor, who resides in our left brain and keeps up a constant stream of subversive remarks that are often disguised as the truth. The censor says wonderful things like, quote, you call that writing? What a joke. You can't even punctuate. If you haven't done it by now, you never will. You can't even spell. What makes you think you can be creative? And on and on. Yeah. That's not what my inner monologue says. Actually, I did a journal entry for myself a week or so ago and nailed something about this. Like, I made this discovery that my inner monologue, my inner critic, is a bully. I have like internalized this horrible...
Yeah. You got a mean girl in your head.
I do. I have a mean girl censor. She's mean. And I like tried to write down the things that like... she implies or said, and I'm like, oh, geez, no wonder I don't want to write. No wonder I don't want to get up. I don't want to deal with her. She's a bee. She's mean. Did you figure out somebody that would like act as your censor, like a character?
I haven't thought of that yet.
Okay, well, I thought of mine. She reminds me of Ursula in Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
She's kind of fun. She's got a beautiful song, a fun song. It's nice and dark and kind of cool. She's making all these promises, and then she takes your voice away so that she can turn you into a little wrinkled prune at the bottom of the ocean. And she knows exactly what you want, and she knows exactly how to take it from you. She is quite the force to be reckoned with. Anyway, Cameron says your censor's negative opinions are not the truth. And these pages allow you to evade the censor. So I guess for me, the morning pages will help me evade Ursula.
We're going to be examining a lot about what we get out of the morning pages. And even if we're not actually looking back at the morning pages, we're going to be aware of some of the stuff that comes up. And we'll probably mention that in some of our other writing as we go along.
She says, think of your censor as a cartoon serpent, or you could think of a cartoon image of your censor, or just making the censor into a nasty, clever little character that begins to pry loose some of its power of you and your creativity. Mm-hmm. That's where I got that idea.
I like the line, morning pages map our own interiority. Without them, our dreams may remain terra incognita. I know mine did. Using them, the light of insight is coupled with the power for expansive change. It is very difficult to complain about a situation morning after morning, month after month, without being moved to a constructive action. And I was thinking, if you're actively listening to one's thoughts day after day and the things you're not doing, at a certain point, it's like your mother nagging you, and you just go ahead and take care of it because you're sick and tired of hearing the nag. That doesn't always work for everyone. Sometimes you just build a resistance and you just don't listen to the nag anymore. But at the same time, like if you are telling yourself time after time you're doing this stuff, maybe that will help you not do it the next time.
Maybe.
Or do that thing that you've been telling yourself to do.
One thing I've been practicing lately, which has been working really well, has been asking myself whether I really want to do it or not. And I spent over a week asking myself that question and following through. Do I really want to do that right now? And I thought about it and I went, no. And so I didn't. What do I want to do? And I sat there and I thought about genuinely, what would I really enjoy doing and why would I enjoy doing it? And then I would go do that thing. And I did that for a week and it felt really good because I'm like, I never think of the things I want to do. I always think of the things that I've told myself I have to do.
That you should do.
That should. Your husband's right. It's that should that's really messed up. Why? That's so weird.
Doing this book's to me like therapy, isn't it?
Well, it's a self-help book. We just talked about that, so maybe we'll be getting into that. Anyway, yeah, shoulds.
You found one that you thought was kind of like therapy a bit?
Oh, yeah. So I talked about this on the podcast. Full disclosure, I overshare, whatever, but I go to therapy. I've been with my therapist for about 4 years now. She's really awesome, and I love her. And she's been very, very helpful for me. And, this comes straight out of the science literature about inner self-talk. And Julia Cameron says, the sensor is part of our leftover survival brain. It was the part in charge of deciding whether it was safe for us to leave the forest and go out into the meadow. Our sensor scans our creative meadow for any dangerous beasties. Any original thought can look pretty dangerous to our sensor. So yeah, there's a social element that's not in here, but in the same vein, it's important that we toe the line as a species. If our group looks up all at the same time, we're going to look up too. Right? Because not looking up could mean getting squashed by something. We go with the flow with what the group is doing. So we're always looking outward and seeing the social element here because we're relying on the group to keep us safe, which sometimes makes us not be creative because we're afraid to not look at the status quo. We're afraid not to toe the line. And our survival brain wants us to do this so bad because it doesn't want to die. We have these strategies in place that protected us in the past, and it's very hard to let them go when they no longer serve a purpose. That's all I'm trying to say. So she's nailed it here, and I'm sure Julia Cameron probably goes to therapy, and I bet the AA literature probably talks about that too, but that is classic psychiatrist textbook stuff.
Mm-hmm. The logic versus the creative brain, the survivalist brain. I think it's a bit simplistic probably, but yeah.
You don't think it's accurate?
Well, I think we have very complex mental models in our head, and I think it's a bit more than just go with the flow and survive.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's go with the flow and survive. I'm saying that you create strategies to survive at some point, but at some point in your life, those strategies are actually harmful and not helpful.
Okay, I guess what I was saying is the whole business about the herd mentality and everybody looking up at the same time and everybody following the herd.
Okay.
I think that goes a certain amount of the way, but also a lot of people out there just don't want to go with the flow anyway.
Well, let's ignore that. Let's ignore that social thing. Let's talk about one strategy you've used that worked in the past for you, but now it does no longer serves a purpose. That's kind of what the sensor does. It's there to protect you, but now it's not protecting you anymore. It may have protected you in the past. It came from somewhere, and it came out of a place of love,
Okay, well, here's a sensor that I have, which is perfectionism. And, I worked for years in a lab. I did a lot of aseptic technique where basically I didn't want to introduce any bacteria or something into the samples. I was working in a hood. My hands moved in very methodical ways. I didn't brush up against stuff. I held the various instruments very carefully. There was that very precise motion to everything that I did. So, when I'm writing or something, there's a very precise motion to stuff. For me, one thing I run into issues with is that I do want to get the sentences perfect or close to perfect. And I have a hard time writing a sentence that I know is really bad and going on to the next sentence. One thing morning pages allows you to do is because you have to keep writing. You just have to keep going, keep going, and keep going. And so it is an exercise in training my brain just to keep writing words out regardless of whether they're good words or the right words of the sentence. There's no going back and crossing out and restarting a sentence.
Right. So you don't want to worry about elbowing a piece of glass that has like acid in it or something in the lab. You don't have to worry about that.
But yeah, I mean, you don't want to introduce bacteria.
Right.
You want to be aware where your hands are. You don't take them out and touch other stuff. You don't touch your face, obviously. I've learned precision in the lab setting and a very kind of careful, meticulous, measure twice, cut once sort of approach. And I think that in creativity, you get to be a lot looser, and that's kind of how you make those connections. If you're too bound to doing things right the first time, if you're too bound to getting it to start correctly and proceeding, then you're cutting off your creativity.
I see.
So I'm seeing this as less of a giant emotional change, paradigm shift, a bit more of like on a mechanical level. What am I doing to change my approach to writing?
I see. Yeah, for me, the strategy for me was that like, if I learn enough, if I come up with the right strategy, if I could just figure it out, then I'll do it right. It'll happen. It'll be right, and there won't be any mistakes. Mm-hmm. I'll do the right thing, and then I won't get ridiculed. That, me, is pretty much just trying to avoid critique, avoid negative anything. Like, can I just make it perfect already?
Can you analyze the hell out of it? Can you find the magic formula in this other person's work, which will suddenly apply to what you're doing and suddenly will make it perfect? Can you get this method that somebody else uses so that when you use that method, everyone will say, of course, you've got that right?
Yes. I was a grade whore as a student.
Well, I'm just thinking about how you used to talk about how you do your memoir and how you figure out how to identify problems and, how other people did it. And just like you would spend a lot of time analyzing what you'd written, analyzing what other people had done, trying to apply one to the other.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's good practice. But at the same time, I did too much of it. And I became obsessive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my thing. And it was really helpful in the past. I got really good grades. I passed my classes, but it's not helpful anymore. I mean, it is, but not at the level.
Not to the extent that you're not writing. Just like it's helpful for me to get the sentences right, but not to the extent that's preventing me from writing any of the words in the first place.
Exactly. So, all right. I hope this is helping you, dear listener, hearing about our psychoses. Let's see. What else do we got here?
There's Timothy, the button-down, button-lip curmudgeon millionaire. There's a lot of millionaires she knows.
Well, she was in Hollywood.
Yes. Who was skeptical about morning pages. But then after a little while, he saw the light. And now he is playing his guitar and listening to music again.
Like, are these people really helpful in the book? Because it just feels like a lie.
Well, I think the idea she keeps putting down, and eventually she's going to have someone that is you, or is Renee, or is Kim, like going to go, oh my God, this person it worked for.
But the way she's doing it is making people up. And it just feels very disingenuous.
There's also Phyllis, the leggy racehorse socialite, who for years had hidden her brains behind her beauty and her life behind her man's.
That is insulting.
Actually, I think I might do a list of all the people in this book because they're really quite colorful.
Yeah, she had like a whole character, like there could be meeples of them or minifigs. We could have a minifig for each like person she brings up.
Yep.
Oh my God, you should. That would be fun. Wow. That would be a fun book. At the end, they all kind of like
have a party.
They have a party or they decide they're going to just like burn the book down or something.
So that bureaucrat from Switzerland and Phyllis and Timothy. Maybe we could do slash fiction with them.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay.
Right.
So she gives a little bit of like a background of how she came up with the morning page. She actually doesn't. She doesn't come up with how she did it. It never gets revealed. She just says she just does them.
And morning pages are so darn simple. I mean, it's like, okay, it's a stream of consciousness. I'm going to write a certain amount. It ended up being about half an hour of writing, and that's physically about 3 pages, but as opposed to telling someone they have to write for half an hour, because the problem with that is that it's very easy to get distracted. But if you actually physically have a page that you have to fill out, it's a much more manageable task. And the idea is if you keep going, you'll get to the end of that pages, and then you'll be done. If you just have a timer, you can run out the timer and not do stuff.
Right.
Actually, I have tried in the past having a timer, like I'm just going to write for the next 20 minutes. And, invariably something comes up, and I need to check this thing on the computer, or I get a text message or something like that. And actually physically having a page that I have to keep writing on is a really good goal because you don't get to stop till you get to the end of that 3rd page.
Yep.
And so you might as well just keep focusing on the next word you're going to write.
Or write bigger. Increase the font to speed it up. Just kidding.
I use College Line notebooks. Do you use College Line?
I use whatever I've got. But I know my handwriting, the nicer my handwriting is, the more intentional the things I'm writing. If my writing gets really like funky, like the handwriting is like not even readable, then what I'm saying doesn't mean anything. It probably goes in one ear out the other.
I think a certain amount of attention to my handwriting is critical because, if I'm not focusing on the actual handwriting, it gets sloppy,
So you're not going to write sloppy?
Well, I don't write super neat, but,
I mean, for the morning pages?
Yeah.
You're going to write sloppy?
No, I'm not going to write sloppy.
You're not going to write sloppy?
No, I need to make sure that I can actually read stuff I'm writing. It's not going to be super neat, but it's going to be legible.
Oh, okay.
Anything else you want to say about morning pages?
I mean, she says like 5 pages discussing morning pages. There's so much words describing it, but there doesn't need to be.
This book lacks one of the things that Renee really loves.
Brevity?
Loved about the writer's journey.
I loved something about the writer's journey.
All the broken up bullet
yeah.
points. Basically, like you could look at a chapter and I could say, oh, we're going to talk about this point, and we're going to talk about this point and this point. And here, it's like there are pages of stuff. And like, she just pops stuff in and pops stuff out. So there's really no inherent organization. You just have to keep going.
Yeah, it reads like a free write. It flitters around. She's like this really overly eager bird. She's like a hummingbird.
So I think it's going to be just a lot of conversations. I don't really think that there's a way to organize her thoughts. Anything critical about morning pages that you want to bring up?
That she likens them to pretty much magic. She's trying to claim that it does a lot of magical work. I can see it doing a lot of helpful things, and I can see it being a meditation. But if you actually read her sentences and you read through all her paragraphs about it, it's very woo-woo. It's very crystal. Not to say there's anything wrong with crystals. They're very pretty. But do they have magical powers?
We have 3 months of writing 3 pages a day, every day, and we will let you know when something magical happens.
Right. So with that said, let's move on to the artist state.
This is something I don't hear about because it's very rare that you're starting like a group writing session or someone saying like what they're organizing their day and they say, okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is the artist state. No, they say, I'm going to do morning pages. They don't say, I'm going to go on artist state.
Yeah. She starts with the thing you have to do every day and then goes on to the thing you have to do twice a week?
Once a week.
Once a week. So what is the artist state, Kim?
It's like an artistic spa. It is that thing you do for your own creativity that you don't do with anybody else. You don't take anybody else along. You don't have it be productive in some other way. It's the thing you do purely for yourself to induce or to spur your creativity.
There you go.
The most obvious thing is you go to an art show by yourself. You look at any paintings that you want to. You don't have someone else that says, can we go now? Or someone else that says, oh, I want to go see this exhibit. You go and see what you want. And you get that artistic rush. And then the next week you pick something else to do. That's just you.
Okay.
Do you ever do this?
Sometimes. It feels very decadent.
It is. It's like retreats. It's a decadent thing we do to feed our artistic aspirations to the expense of anything else that we should be doing or what other things people in our family want us to be doing. I think the real trick of it is you're not allowed to bring somebody else along on it.
That is hard because I think of the things that I would probably want to do and then I'd feel guilty for leaving Max behind. Mm-hmm. Do you feel the same thing?
Yeah, but well, like I'm not going to make an artist date by driving up to San Francisco and going to see an art museum without my husband because that would be too much.
Rude. Yeah.
If it's going to be some big major thing, I wouldn't want to just do it by myself. That would be selfish. Part of the trick of this is it's only an hour or two every week. It's something small and local.
Okay.
So I can do it while people are out of the house, so nobody would be there for me to do it anyway. Do you want to brainstorm on some other ideas of different kind of artist dates you could do? Because I definitely would do an art museum or an art show. That's something on my list.
Right. She says that in its most primary form, the artist date is an excursion, a play date that you pre-plan and defend against all interlopers. You do not take anyone. It is for your inner artist, your creative child. Movies, do they count?
I was actually thinking one thing I could do is I go to a movie all by myself. Because movies are one of those things that you're always like negotiating. Well, should we do this? Should we do that? Do it at the end of the day, whatnot. And sometimes they're just a movie that, only you will enjoy. And you spend the money, $10, $15 to go see a movie by yourself.
Yeah, they're easy because you know when they begin and you know when they end. And they are local. Mm-hmm. Art galleries?
Art galleries are definitely.
She does mention cooking.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's chores. I don't know what she's thinking. Maybe she's rich enough to have a cook or something, but no way. That's hours of work. And it's just done. And, I think what adds to my allergy to cooking is that me and Max are very fast eaters. And so it's like an hour of work and we're done in 10 minutes.
I mean, maybe for some people, cooking is more of an extension of their creativity or they want a chance to make a particular thing. But yeah, for me, the actual cooking feels like it's too much work.
We should come up with a list because I'm having a hard time, besides going to an art gallery or going to a movie. I mean, as an artist, can you read?
No, I don't think it'd be reading because that's I was thinking, does it count to watch something on Netflix? And I think no. I think you need to actively go out of your way. It has to be a date. If your husband says, let's grab coffee on the way home, that's not a date.
What about a walk?
You could do a walk. I do a lot of walks anyway.
I know. I think that doesn't feel like a retreat.
And you do run, so that doesn't really count. I think it has to be something a little bit outside the general day-to-day thing. So I think a walk could do it if you were in the right mind frame or maybe
go to a special place.
Yeah. Or I was thinking maybe go to a place and listen to an album from start to finish.
So you can't listen to a book. You have to listen to an album.
Well, I mean, you could listen to some particular book, but the problem is you can't finish a book in a single hour. It should be something that you're not continuously doing.
We should do some research and come up with some because we're going to have a hard time. We can't just see a movie every week.
Well, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen, but
yeah. I mean, we would become really good movie buffs, at least.
she's got like a visit to a great junk store, a solo trip to the beach, an old movie seen alone together, a visit to an aquarium or art gallery.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you have the beach. You could go to the beach.
I could totally go to the beach and just sit out there and watch stuff for an hour and listen to music or something.
I do thrifting too much to call it a date.
Yeah, I think it's got to be something that's a little bit outside because it's got to. The other thing she talks about is the stocking the pond, like filling it with some stuff that sparks your creativity. And if it's something you've done a whole bunch, like going to a thrift store, I don't think that's going to spark your creativity the same way.
You know what me and my friend did recently? We went to Petroglyph. And we did pottery, and it was glorious. I loved it. I was like, oh my God, I'm not thinking of anything. All I'm thinking about is painting this witch's hat. It meant nothing. It's like I'm not trying to make it perfect because I'm not a potter. I'm not a painter. But it was just so freeing and so nice in a way that I was kind of surprised.
That's good because there are some of those do it there art places where you just go and you do it. I had a friend of mine. We once went up to a weaver's studio up in the mountains in Zayente. And she just had a whole bunch of like random pieces of fabric and we just like put them in this little hanging thing. And you just one after another. And that was the activity.
Nice. Do you think if I went to a cafe and I drew instead of wrote, would that count?
Yes. As long as you didn't have your device on and,
What if I listen to music?
You could listen to music, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if you had a specific project you wanted to work on or particular kind of like you were inspired to do something artistic, to drawing.
I do a lot of cross stitch, so that can't count because I do it already.
Yeah.
Something I'm not already doing. I can see it being a novel thing, right? It has to be something that's novel.
Yes, something that puts you outside of your regular day-to-day life.
Okay. We got the thing, dear listener. You can't watch a movie every week, but you can go watch movies. Or maybe you can watch a movie every week. But you shouldn't be reading or writing or shouldn't be doing the thing that is your art. You should be doing other art stuff to help fill your well. It says, as artists, we must learn to be self-nourishing. We must become alert enough to consciously replenish our creative resources as we draw on them to restock the trout pond, so to speak. I call this process filling the well.
I agree that the two things are to make time for your art or make time for some sort of creative endeavor, and then also to make sure it's something that refreshes you and reinvigorates you and jolts you out of your regular day-to-day stuff.
Okay. It's interesting that something to do every day, the first thing you do is morning pages, and then this artist's date. It actually feels hard to do, even though they're simple as heck, right?
Week 1 starts off with the fact that we're supposed to wake up a half an hour early every day to do the artist pages. So actually to make an extra bit of time in the morning to do that.
Oh my God. She's serious when she says morning.
Yep.
Oh man. So it's like really the first thing you really have to wait. Oh,
for this first week at least, we're going to do it first thing in the morning.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Okay. Oh, but don't forget, we have a contract. Did you see the contract?
Yes, we had a contract.
We have to sell our soul to the devil. We have to sign away our logic and reason and join the cult that is Julia Cameron's artist.
I don't know why she keeps saying I and then write your name in and then I and write your like usually for a legal contract you just have to write the beginning your name in and then it's just assumed at every point that I refers to the person writing it.
Okay, let's read the contract. Let's just say what we're getting into because we are going to sign it.
I, your name, understand that I am undertaking an intensive guided encounter with my own creativity, and I will not hold the management accountable for anything for any damage.
I will not share any trade secrets, nor will I sue on behalf of So go on.
So, undertaking an intensive guided encounter with my own creativity. I commit myself to a 12-week duration of the course. I insert my name in case I become somebody else. Commit to weekly readings, daily morning pages. Always we got weekly readings. Oh, that's each chapter. A weekly artist date and the fulfillment of each week's tasks.
And then the other one is I, insert name here, further understand that this course will raise issues and emotions for me to deal with. What?
I will not hold Julia Cameron responsible for any dissolution of my marriage or
From these morning pages.
quitting my job, moving out of the country.
Oh my God. Is this like the midlife crisis book? Do people find this and like have their midlife crisis?
And then finally, because there's more, I, insert your name, commit myself to excellent self-care, adequate sleep, diet, exercise, and pampering for the duration of this course.
Diet? What? Wait a minute. This is going too far.
It's almost culty right there.
Almost? Wow. She does have a diet plan, but it doesn't say anything about moving to the middle of the desert
No.
and living on a commune.
No.
Okay.
I'm sending money to her.
If you want more, you can go to a retreat.
Or supplying our bank account numbers and rooting it.
Forcing our children to come with us and flying across the country. Yeah, I mean, you do have to buy the book. Did you buy it new?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at you. So how much was it? Do you know?
It was like $20 or something like that.
Okay. Mine was $4.99.
I found a really cute bookstore, and I'm supporting that bookstore. So yeah.
Okay. That's admirable. All right. You ready to write into it? Are you actually going to put your name in it?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, my goodness. I'm afraid because if I lose the book, someone's going to see it and go, I know her.
I'm not putting my last name in.
Oh, smart. I, Renee.
Kim.
So this is the beginning of a plot. That would be an interesting horror story. Oh, fudge pops a signature and a date.
Yep.
What's the fine print? I actually signed it. All right.
So now we're committed.
Damn it. What have we done? So we finished the first 2 chapters. Oh, she's not done yet.
Oh, no, it's just creativity contract.
Well, she talks about artist block. Artist block is a very literal expression. Blocks must be acknowledged and dislodged. Oh, that's why we have to sign this. Somehow it has something to do with it. And she says, I require students to make a contract with themselves, committing to the work of the course. Can you give yourself that gift? Oh, she says it's a gift. Say yes by means of some small ceremony. It's a ceremony. Okay. Yeah, I can already feel the woo-woo creeping into my brain.
So I learned in this chapter that apparently Einstein claimed he got his best ideas in the shower. I don't think that was a real Einstein quote.
I am skeptical. Oh, yes, that's something we haven't mentioned. So this book is an interesting shape. It is almost a square. And the text only fills up 3/4 of the page, which leaves like this whole margin on the left for quotes.
It's also really good for annotating. For us as intense readers, it's actually very useful. There's plenty of room to make our comments on the side.
It's almost as if it was made to be podcasted. So, for example, she has a Georgia O'Keeffe quote that says, "Nobody sees a flower, really. It is so small it takes time. We haven't time, and to see takes time, like to have a friend takes time."
Georgia O'Keeffe saw a lot of flowers, though.
Yeah.
She saw a lot in flowers.
Yeah. Here's one. Somebody named MC Richards. Poetry often enters through the window of irrelevance. So, yeah. This book is not really to be annotated. It's not prescriptive in almost any way.
Well, I almost feel like it needs to be annotated because you want to actually pull stuff out because it just kind of flows all together if you don't.
I guess. Anyway, my mom in the afterlife is very proud of me right now for actually signing a contract in this book because she did love this book.
Did she sign her contract in the book?
I'm sure she did. I didn't see her copy of this book. I'm sure her partner has it. They were together for a long time. He's still alive. But yeah.
If you're over there, you should, if you see it on the shelf, you should pick it up and take a look.
I should.
And see if your mom wrote anything in it.
You know what I did find, which I found fascinating? There's another book that's kind of in the same vein, but more like, I don't know, not as nice. It's called The War of Art.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Uh-huh.
And I found her copy of it and she annotated it. And it was fascinating reading the annotations. And I found it after her death, right? So I'm like reading it like, wow, that's what was interesting to her. Because she was an artist.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure, I'm biased, but she was actually a very, very good artist. She went to Cal Arts. She did their animation program. You've seen her art in my house. She just had serious mental blocks to getting work done. She was a flake. And I'm also kind of a flake, but she was way more flaky.
So your mother was serious about these books and they still didn't quite help her.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Now, as something I've learned, I used to like kind of look down on her a little bit, like, come on, Mom, get your shit together. What's wrong with you? And as I've gotten older, it's actually become harder for me to get and show up. Like when I'm younger, it was easy to show up and get work done and be disciplined. And that has all changed now that I'm an old lady. And I feel bad now, or not feel bad. I see where my mom was coming from a little bit more. So, yeah.
So next time we get together, we will be going over week 1, recovering a sense of safety.
And just so you know, if you're following along with us, our episodes will be coming up bi-weekly. Just know that you will be doing each step. If you don't buy the book, you're going to have to do each step for 2 weeks instead of 1.
Right.
Which isn't bad.
Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing them weekly, though. If I'm going to be doing all the work in this book and also trying to work harder on my novel, then I'm not going to be putting out a podcast every week either.
Right.
Just that takes a long time.
Yeah. So, well, that's something to bring up. So Kim just went to, what was the convention you went to?
I went to Worldcon.
You went to Worldcon and you had a really good time. Mm-hmm. And you met some people from a different podcast. Well, who are they?
I went to the party for the writing excuses, and most of the actual hosts weren't there. I did talk to some people, but I also talked to all the staff, and they have like 4 or 5 people that handle production and publicity and promotion, and
they're not even the hosts.
No,
they're just staff.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, I don't think they're full-time staff, but yeah, they're putting a fair amount of their time into
right. Whereas me and Kim are me and Kim. That's it. That's all you get, folks. That we don't have staff. So our cats, perhaps, which explains a few things.
What we do have is a process group. We'd love to hear from you. We've had some great people. We've had a lot of people show up consistently. It is at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over Zoom. You can sign up through Meetup or on our website. And if someone else has done the morning pages, we'd love to hear about what your experiences were for that.
Yep.
Okay, I think we're going to call that good.
Oh, don't forget to buy Kim's book.
Words to Write By is produced by Renee Nelson and Kim Smitha Adam. Our theme music is Roll Back the Carpet by Cool Cat Music. Have a great day.
I'm actually thinking we'll probably Tuesday night split this book episode into 2 parts.
Sure.
So, but let's
More
just keep going.
episodes. Why not?
Just keep going.